Okay, so we're starting here on page 22, and the first word you might want to translate here is epeith, and this word is actually epeita, but it's been shortened to epeith because it's followed by a vowel with a rough breathing. So that means then, or next. And we also have this word hama, which means together. And then the subject is pantes, meaning all, right? They all, or all of them. And in fact, hoi is going with that. Hoi pantes, them all of them, or they all. And then the main verb is helon. This is a Homeric version of halon, aorist of haireo. Literally, they took or captured. And the object of that is aspeton udas. Aspeton means vast, or big, or expansive, immense, something like that. And the udas is the earth, much like ger, for example. So literally, they all captured the vast earth. And then odax is this rather strange adverb that means, I suppose literally in English you would say dentally or something, but if we want to use a real English phrase, we'd have to say with their teeth. So literally they took the vast earth with their teeth. We would say they bit the vast earth with their teeth. So in other words, because they've been killed, they're falling down and their teeth kind of smack onto the ground. We sometimes use the phrase biting the dust in English as a way of saying that someone's died, right? They bit the dust. So this is a Greek equivalent to that. Okay, and de. And remember, men and de set up a contrast. So on the one hand, the people who've just been killed bit the vast earth with their teeth. But on the other hand, there's our de, the suitors, menesteres, anekoresan, that means retreated, anakoreo, common Greek verb meaning to retreat or withdraw. Mukonde, now mukos is corner. And when you put de at the end of a word, it gives the sense of going to a place. So to the corner, or to the innermost part of the whole, megaroia. Remember, oia is that Homeric genitive singular form, like ou in later ancient Greek. So in later ancient Greek, if you want to say of the word, you would say to logu, whereas in Homeric Greek, that becomes to logoia, right? Okay, so they retreated to the innermost part of the hall. But they, toi, and this would refer to Odysseus and his companions, right? His son Telemachus, Eumaeus, the loyal swineherd, and also Philoetius, the loyal cowherd. So they, epeixan, now ara here is just a particle that we don't really need to translate. The verb is epeixan, which means they sprang forth, or something like that. And they helonta, this is a middle aorist from haireo, to take. They took for themselves their enkea, their spears, and the a at the end of that word has been elided into helonta, their spears, ex nekuo, from the corpses. So I translated helonta as they drew out, right? They drew out their enkea from the corpses, ex nekuo. Autis de, right? And again, de autis, and again. The suitors, menesteres, hurled akontisan, weak aorist, hurled their sharp spears, oxea dura, their sharp, so oxea means sharp, and dura are spears. They threw them hiemenoi. Hiemenoi is a participle that means being eager. In English, we would translate this with the adverb eagerly, right? So they hurled their sharp spears eagerly. But Athene, the goddess Athena, who supports Odysseus. Therken, literally put, or we might say made. Ta polla, literally the many, in other words, the majority of the spear throws. Etosia. Now, etosia means fruitless, pointless, in vain, something like that. So Athena made most of these dura, the spears, pointless. Okay. And then Homer expands on this, right? He says, allos tone, one of them. Right? Allos means other or another. But when you've got repeated allos, right? You've got allos here, and then here in line 275, and then here again in line 276. The first allos we would translate as one. Right? So one of them had hit bebleke, pluperfect of ballo, had hit the stathmon, the doorpost, of the eustapheos megaroia, of the well-built hall. Right, and eustapheos is to do with the word eu, meaning well. Notice that there is this accent, the two dots, the diacritic above the upsilon, and that tells you that this is a separate syllable. So the whole word is eustapheos, 5 syllables. And that's a genitive phrase, eustapheos megaroia. And then we have another one, allos de, another. So you've got allos men up there, one of them on the one hand, and now the second half of the contrast, another one. And then we imagine the verb bebleke again, another one had hit the pukinos araruian thuren. Now, pukinos means closely or densely. It's an adverb, and then araruian means fitted or fitting, and then a thura is a door. So this phrase means the close-fitting door. So the point is the suitors have all missed. Right? One of them's hit the doorpost, another's hit the door, and then the melie alu. Melie means something made of ash. So I translated it as ashen spear. And by ash, I mean the wood of the ash tree. Okay, so the ash spear of another one, alu. So alu is genitive, meaning of another suitor. You know, another suitor's ashen spear. And the spear is described with this adjective kalkobarea, which means heavy, literally bronze heavy, right? Heavy with bronze. Fell, pese, weak aorist from pipto, fell, en toiko, on the wall. Yes, and on the wall, n plus dative. And you can recognize the dative case with toiko because of that, that iota subscript, the little iota under the last letter, right? That's a dative singular ending. But there. And again, I didn't bother translating ara here, but amphimedon is the subject here. He bale telemakon. He struck or he hit Telemachus. So that's the strong aorist of ballo. And then the object is telemakon, accusative case. He hit Telemachus. And then we have this rather strange word, ligden, which is an adverb, meaning something like closely or something. I think the easiest way of translating this is as a participle in English. So I translated ligden as grazing, right? Grazing or scraping. And then the object is keira, which again, the last vowel is elided into the next word. So grazing his hand, epicarpo, on sort of epi plus dative, meaning next to or something. So epicarpo, I translated as by the wrist, right? And this is where we get, in English, words like carpal tunnel syndrome is something that can happen to your wrist. Similarly, in Italian, osso carpale, right? So this word carpos in Greek means your wrist. And de, the bronze, kalkos. So kalkos is a new subject in the nominative case. The bronze, delesato, tore or damaged. Literally the akron rhinon. Now akros is an adjective that means the top of something, right? Like the Acropolis is the top of the city. So literally the bronze tore the top of the skin, rhinos. And in English, we probably wouldn't say the top of the skin, we would say the surface of the skin, something like that. So in other words, this spear does hit Telemachus, but it doesn't do very much damage, actually. So then we go to, what's this, page 24, line 279. And we have a new subject, de ktesipos and ktesipus. Enkei macro, and so again you can see that iota subscript indicating a dative with his long spear, right? Macros meaning long and enkos being a spear. And again we notice the accent, the diacritic above the iota there, which tells us that it's a separate syllable. So enkei is 3 different syllables. Ktesippus with his long spear. Epigrapsen. Now this is the aorist from epigrapho, which is literally to write on something. And again, we might translate it as to graze someone. So with his long spear, he grazed, and the object is Eumaion, that's Eumaeus, the swineherd, grazed Eumaeus. Omon. Now omos is a shoulder. And this is what we call an accusative of respect. He grazed him with respect to his shoulder. In other words, he grazed him on the shoulder. Huper sakos, above the shield. Right? Huper plus accusative meaning above, sakos meaning a shield. Ta, huperptata, right? Ta means it, referring to the enkos, the long spear. It, and then this verb huperptata means to, huperpetomai means to fly over, right? So, but it flew over, and it fell, pipte, from pipto, to fall, it fell erasde. Now erasde means to the earth or fell on the ground, something like that. And then in the next sentence, and again, aute, which elides into the next word, toi amphi odysseia. Now toi in Homeric Greek, this is just like hoi in later Greek, so it means those people or those men. Amphi odysseia, around Odysseus. So literally those around Odysseus. And Odysseus is then described as daifrona poikilometer. Daifron meaning wise, and poikilometes meaning something like crafty-minded or something like that. Now, yeah, cunning, something like that. And now, this is difficult to translate because the phrase hoi amphi odysseia, literally it means those around Odysseus, but perhaps a more natural way or a better way of translating it would be Odysseus and his men. So the point of this phrase is Odysseus, the wise and crafty-minded, and his men, and then we go to the main verb, hurled, akontisan. And then we have the object, oxeadura, their sharp spears. Es homilon, right? That's like ace homilon in later Greek, into the crowd or into the throng of the suitors, mneasteron. So mneasteron is genitive plural. Then again, enth, out, right? Entha and then aute, both eliding into the next word. Then again. Now, this little section is kind of tricky because, as we saw before, Homer gives us the object first and then the subject. So you have, Euridamanta is accusative, and then the subject is over here, Odysseus, the nominative case. Similarly, Amphimedonta, accusative, Telemakos, nominative. Similarly, Polubon, accusative, Subotes, nominative. And then again, Ktesipon, accusative, and then Epiboukolos, aner, nominative. And I've tried to reflect that word order in my translation. Right, so then again, Eurydamas, right, here in the accusative case, Eurydamas, city sacking Odysseus, ptoliporthos is a word that means sacker of cities, right, because ptoli comes from polis, meaning a city, and portheo is to sack a city. So city sacking Odysseus struck Balle. So the point is, city sacking Odysseus struck Eurydamas, and Telemachus struck Amphimedon, and the swineherd Subotes struck Polybus, and the Epiboukolos aner, literally the cattle herding man, Epiboukolos aner, the herding of cows man, right? Epiboukolos boon aner. Epiboukolos means herding, boon of cows, and aner meaning a man. So that whole 3-word phrase means the herdsman of cattle. He struck bebleke, ktesipon, ktesipus, pros stethos, literally towards his breast, or in English we would say in his breast. And death, and then you have this this participle epeukomenos. Now eukomai means I boast, and epeukomai is to boast over someone, to boast over a fallen enemy. Right, so boasting over him, he said pros euda, and then on the next page we'll go into direct speech to hear the speech of Philoetius.